This is the norming video for the 3rd grade math CA1 constructed response. Before you begin, you're going to need 2 documents open on your computer or printed. The first thing that you'll want to have open is the constructed response rubric, which you can find posted underneath the Common Assessment on Blackboard. The other document you will want to have printed or up on your computer is a CA norming document that looks like this, that is already pre-filled out with an exemplar response to the CA constructed response. To get started, we're going to look at these side by side and analyze what makes a good constructed response answer and what are some acceptable answers that you can grade as a point that may not necessarily be on the rubric explicitly. So for the first constructed response, it asks scholars to read this word problem and dissect what it's asking in the word problem, which is an addition word problem sentence. You'll see that they need to add 17 plus 31 to get 48. You'll see that the directions ask them to write a number sentence that shows how many animals Farmer Jim and his helpers drove to the fair on the first day. So they must write a number sentence in order to get credit, since it is in the directions. For part A, you get to award 1 point for the correct setup. So if they can set up 17 plus 31 or 31 plus 17. You'll award the second point for the correct answer of 48. It is fine if your scholars wrote this horizontally or vertically. For part B, it's also asking them to dissect a word problem into the 3 components and then to figure out how many more animals were brought to the fairgrounds on the first day than the second day. What they'll have to do first is add together 12, 9, and 11 to figure out how many animals were there on the second day. But then they will need to do an additional step, which is to set up the problem 48 from day 1 minus 32 from day 2 to see that there were 16 more animals on day 1 than on day 2. If you look at the rubric, they get 1 point awarded for the correct setup. This setup is for the number sentence 48 minus 32 equals 16. If they only set up the first part, they do not get that credit. If they set up this correctly, and they also get the correct answer of 16, they are awarded the second point. On to part C. Just like before, they have to read and figure out what the problem is asking them to do. In this case, it's also 2-step where they need to add 57 plus 75 from day 3 to get 32 animals. Then they have to figure out what day had the most number of animals, which day had the least number of animals, and then figure out the difference. In this case, it's day 3 minus day 2. Just like before, they get 1 point for the correct setup. Again, that correct setup should be 132 minus 32. They also get 1 point for the correct answer, which is 100 animals. You'll see that constructed response 1 is worth a total of 6 points overall, and they can be awarded anywhere between 0 and 6 points. Moving on to question number 2, this is asking them to use their estimation skills in order to determine what a good estimate of a problem would be. For part A, what they need to do is they need to find out what's a good estimate of the new weight of the elephant after she gained the 24 pounds. The easiest way that scholars might choose to do this is to say 298 rounds to 300, 24 rounds down to 20, so 300 plus 20 is about 320 points. As you can see over here, they get 1 point for the answer 320, but in order to receive that credit, they must show you how they rounded or estimated. As it says right here, show or explain how you got your estimate. An additional way that you could see that scholars solve this is written out down here. They could say 298 is close to 300, and 25 is a compatible number for 24, and 300 plus 25 equals 325. So you may see 320, 325. There may be a few other things. As long as they are truly compatible numbers, then you can give them the credit for that. For part B, they need to use their answer from part A, so whether that was 320, 325, whatever it is, and they need to answer the question about how many pounds does Esther have to gain to weigh 330 pounds. If you use this example right here, they would take 320 and subtract that from 330 to see that the difference is 10 pounds. So they would need to gain 10 more pounds. In order to receive credit, again, the scholar must show you how they rounded, estimated, so using the number sentence would be perfectly fine here. If they use compatible numbers, for example, and they got 325, what you would be looking for is a number sentence more like this, where you can see 330 minus 325 equals 5 more pounds. One additional thing about both of these answer choices is that if scholars do not estimate, they do not get the point awarded. So for example, if they take 298 and they just subtract 24 from it, which many of our scholars can, that would not be a good estimate. That would that would be them just figuring out the correct answer. This is an estimation problem, so they should be estimating. If you have any additional questions, be sure to check with your campus leadership team or your campus grade level team. If you have even further additional questions, feel free to reach out to your CTL or email me, Monica Miller, at momiller@uplifteducation.org. Thank you.